good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this one. This is my F1 Chinese Grand Prix review from the weekend. Obviously, a lot to talk about because we had a sprint race as well. We had a sprint weekend as well, but we'll start off with the race transportation, where once again, another dominant weekend for Red Bull. Another dominant weekend for Red Bull, but Lando Norris splitting the two Red Bulls, so a fantastic weekend for Lando Norris in that McLaren to split the Red Bulls and keep Perez behind him and stop it being a Red Bull 1-2. And Red Bull finally ended hers at the Shanghai circuit. With Red Bull before this weekend, Red Bull had a turf in China, not winning a Grand Prix at China. Red Bull, but I did say in my preview, Mercedes were dominant because they were dominant in the last radiations, and I did say Red Bull will win this Grand Prix due to obviously them being dominant with these radiations as well. So yeah, Max Verstappen in first, Sergio Perez in third. Max Verstappen in first, Sergio Perez in third. Almost the perfect weekend for Red Bull. I think they would have liked Perez to be above Norris. Then you could say it's a perfect weekend for Red Bull. But yeah, still a great weekend for Red Bull. I mean, Perez did qualify second, so a bit of a downgrade for him. But Lando Norris moving up 2 places, fantastic for Lando. So in terms of up next, then, I mean, McLaren second and 8th place for McLaren. Piastri finished in 8th. Oscar Piastri did qualify in 5th, so yeah, a bit of a disappointing race for Piastri, dropping down 3 places, but a brilliant weekend for Super Lando Norris. Will he win a race this weekend? Will he win a race this season? Who knows? It feels like he's getting even closer, isn't he, Super Lando? Obviously, coming into this weekend, Ferrari said they would struggle in China, and that proved to be the case in terms of the tyres for this circuit. 4th and 5th for the two Ferraris. They did qualify 6th and 7th, the two Ferraris as well. So it's not really been a great weekend for Ferrari in terms of Shanghai, China. But I did say that in my preview that they could be struggling. They could struggle due to tyre concerns. But once again, it probably strategy concerns as always. It was strategy concerns when they went from plan A to plan B to plan C. Now they went to plan D, which just tells you everything. A bad weekend for Mercedes. Well, not shock really, is it? I think we don't need to obviously push the team marks down. They've been massively struggling this season, Mercedes. And to be honest with you, Mercedes could be in a battle with Aston Martin for 4th place to be the 4th best team in F1, which is just ridiculous to think about, really, isn't it? George Russell finished in 6th after 12. He qualified 8th, but he finished 6th, so a decent race for George Russell. Decent race for him. To be fair, it was much better in the race in terms of qualifying for Mercedes, as Lewis Hamilton qualified 18th and ended up finishing 9th. And also, we know what happened with Lewis Hamilton in terms of sprint race this weekend. He was leading the race. He was leading the sprint race, and we all got our hopes up. But I will say this though, I think Lewis Hamilton needs to be questioned, in my opinion, because it's all right paying the tar. It's all right paying the tar, but how can you qualify 18th for a 7-time world champion? How can you qualify 18th? If he would have qualified top 10, then yeah, I wouldn't criticise Lewis Hamilton because that's where Mercedes are at the moment. But for me, if everyone's saying Lewis Hamilton is this good, he should be qualifying like he's in the top 10 on any circuit, no matter if the car's bad or not. There's no way he should be qualifying 18th, in my opinion. I'm sorry, it's just my opinion. But I think I'm right in saying that Hamilton needs to be criticised, but he turned it around in the race. During the 9 paces, to be fair. So definitely, I will say definitely a time of the day performance from Lewis Hamilton for day in the 9 paces. But for me, you shouldn't be qualifying 18th, in my opinion, no matter if the car's bad or not. So I think Hamilton does need to be questioned, in my opinion. We now move on to Aston Martin. Unfortunate race for Fernando Alonso, who did start third and was after that one in second place. After that one, behind Max Verstappen, so he did drop down 5 places to 7th. So disappointing weekend for Fernando in the end. After a promising start, Lance Stroll, who obviously qualified 11th. He went down 4 places, finished 15th, had an incident with Daniel Ricciardo, crossing into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, not paying attention. It's just remarkable way how Lance Stroll became Daniel Ricciardo when Lance Stroll wasn't paying attention to the cars in front of him. He was too busy looking towards the cars that are already starting to turn well before he crashed into the back of Daniel Ricciardo. And it's no surprise with Lance Stroll, no surprise with him, because I've always said what does Lance Stroll mean? For me, it means a car crash driver, because that's what he is. He's an absolute car crash. And the sooner Aston Martin get rid of the Strolls, the better, in my opinion, because they are holding the team back for where they want to be in terms of ambitious targets. So, but yeah, up next, on to Hearts. Nico Hulkenberg, then the points again. Very good. Another good weekend for Hearts. Ken Magnussen, obviously, finished 16th. Hulkenberg, yeah, consistent race for Hulkenberg. 12th, 9th. Finished 10th. Still finishing the points. It was more of a disappointing weekend for Magnussen. But still a good weekend for Hearts, as they're still getting the points. And Haas have certainly been one of the surprise practices this year. And onto Alpine. Hey, another a very good race for Alpine. They didn't get in the points. Alpine, but massive progression from obviously their abysmal start to the season for Alpine. As Ocon finishes 11th, Darcy finishes 13th. After Ocon, they even had a good qualifying. The Alpines, to be fair, getting out of qualifying 1, both drivers getting out of qualifying 1, which I did say Alpine, once the season goes on, they will progress, in my opinion, because there's no way Alpine, all the cars will fall at Alpine just like that and become the worst team on the grid, which I don't think it will be. Despite the first couple of races have been an absolute car crash for Alpine. I think the developments have certainly been made so far in the Alpine car, and now the starting to progress. And this is more Alpine's level now. This is where I expect Alpine to be mid-table and possibly sneaking in the points. That's what we know Alpine for. So, good to see Alpine back. Good to see them back up there in terms of the mid-table battle. On to Williams, Alex Albon. Alex Albon finished in 12th, Sargent finished in 17th. Jordan Sargent obviously qualified 20th, so he gained a couple places up there, but thanks to DNFs. Alex Albon qualified 14th and gained a couple more places, so Williams, for me, Williams are certainly another team for me that I do expect them to stay in the points at some point. Well, mainly Alex Albon to stay in the points at some point. On to Sauber, Zhou Guanyu in his home race for Zhou Guanyu. For me, probably a good weekend. You have to say probably a good weekend for Zhou Guanyu. It was always going to be hard for him to store points for Zhou Guanyu. Bottas obviously suffered a DNF. So still not a good weekend for Sauber, but maybe a good weekend. Still a good weekend for Zhou Guanyu in his home Grand Prix, because that's probably the best he could get in the race, because I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the top 10 unless we had a lot of DNFs. Zhou Guanyu then 2 places. Very disappointing for Valtteri Bottas. Disappointing race for Bottas after having an amazing qualifying, didn't they? Had an amazing qualifying session. To then suffer a DNF is just so unfortunate for Valtteri. It just shows though that qualifying performance from Bottas, he's still done it, hasn't he? He has still got driving ability there in an F1 car. But so unfortunate with the DNF for Valtteri. But now we move on to the sprint. Now we move on to the sprint classification, where we saw Max Verstappen win the race after qualifying 4th in the sprint qualifying. Lewis Hamilton in 2nd after qualifying 2nd. Obviously, there was controversy about Lando Norris getting his time reinstated in sprint qualifying, which denied Lewis Hamilton pole. For me, didn't see anything wrong with it. Didn't see anything wrong with it at all. I think that's just Mercedes being a bit bitter, in my opinion. Being a bit desperate measures. Sergio Perez. So the top eight. Zhou Guanyu just missing out on the points. Just missing out on the bonus points in the sprint race. But the top 8, as you see on there, all stored points. With the rest of the grid all missing out, and Fernando Alonso having an unfortunate sprint race. As in sprint qualifying, but in sprint qualifying we saw the 2 Saubers have a brilliant sprint qualifying, both of them getting to qualifying 3 for sprint qualifying. George Russell missing out as well, and completely forgot to talk about Vita Tatap RB, which is a weekend for both drivers, both suffering DNF. Ricardo's DNF wasn't his fault. Lance Stroll just decided to drive into the back of him for some reason. So another weekend for Vita Tatap RB, especially in the sprint as well. Ricardo had a good sprint race, to be fair, just missing out on the top 10. But yeah, basically a weekend for Vita Tatap RB. Now we move on to the standings. What you're saying in terms of driving standings? Max Verstappen now has a 25-point lead over teammate Sergio Perez. Charles Leclerc has 7-point lead over Carlos Sainz. The 2 McLarens 5th and 6th. George Russell, look at that. At the moment, the Mercedes look like they're going to be battling with the Aston Martins, which is a complete drop off from the last racing from Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton in 9th. George Russell in 7th is probably not surprising, because he's probably expected to be around there. But Lewis Hamilton in 9th, in terms of time standings, which is quite shocking to see, isn't it? Quite shocking to see. And that is the upper pairs of the driver standings. Lucky Snowden in 11th with 7 points. Hulkenberg takes his point tally up to 4 points after stolen points in the weekend. So Nico Hulkenberg certainly having a good season so far, isn't he? And has certainly having a good season. As Ocon and Dazi also move up places despite not stolen points. And in terms of constructor standings, Red Bull have a 44-point lead over Ferrari. McLaren in third with 96 points. Mercedes only have a 12-point lead over Aston Martin in a battle for fourth, which is certainly the battle for fourth at the moment. RB, faced Haas RB, who had a DNF weekend. The DAF is now closing on them, with Hulkenberg stolen a point. Haas closing the DAF on RB in the battle for 6th. And Williams, Alpine, Sauber still on 0 points, but that will soon change during the season, as Alpine made great progression this weekend in China, getting out 12-1, and the progressions now stand to be there for Alpine. And you would expect Williams to make progression as well, with Sauber. With Sauber will probably be the worst team on the grid. So feel free to take off, but that I'm done you for there for my Grand Prix review in China. I'll be seeing you all in Miami for the Miami Grand Prix preview, which will be another sprint weekend for the Miami Grand Prix. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below on the Chinese Grand Prix down below in the comments, as Red Bull, yet another dominant weekend for Red Bull. But a great race for Super Lando Norris disputing the Red Bulls, as Max Verstappen wins in China. Lando Norris wins second, and Sergio Perez wins third. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Take care, stay safe, and see you all later. And I'll see you all for the Miami Grand Prix.